From Keene in the Shire, the Liberty Media capital of the world, this is Daryl W. Perry, host of FPP Radio News for Wednesday, August 27th, 2014. Silver is trading at $19.50 per ounce. Gold is valued at $1,287 per ounce. And according to BitcoinAverage.com, the average price of Bitcoin is $517. Antiwar.com reports, the Gaza war came to an apparent halt yesterday with an open-ended ceasefire containing most of the same terms as a failed peace treaty being agreed to and likely taking the place of a formal truce. With Israel's cabinet so vehemently opposed to the truce, the ceasefire came as something of a surprise, especially to the cabinet, as Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu agreed to the deal without any cabinet vote at all. Economy Minister Naftali Bennett, one of the most outspoken of the cabinet hawks, blasted the move, saying the cabinet was almost uniformly opposed to peace with the Gaza Strip and wants the war resumed immediately. Netanyahu insisted that he didn't need cabinet approval for a ceasefire. Where this goes from here remains to be seen, but Israel's coalition seems more divided than ever, with even many of Netanyahu's own Likud party complaining that agreeing to peace was a sign of weakness and that Israel should have continued the war at all cost. Hi, I'm Daryl W. Perry, and I need your help to take Peace, Love, Liberty Radio on the road. During the 104-day trip, I'll be visiting at least 10 cities across the country, speaking to people about the ideas of peace, love, and liberty, while simultaneously continuing to create daily liberty media. To find out more about the tour or to donate, visit tour.fppradio.com. That's tour.fppradio.com. Reuters reports one of two candidates competing to succeed Afghan leader Hamid Karzai threatened on Tuesday to pull out of a UN-backed audit of a disputed presidential election, undermining a process meant to defuse a volatile standoff between the contenders. The investigation is part of a U.S. brokered deal between presidential candidates Abdullah Abdullah and Ashraf Ghani, both of whom have claimed to have won the election that was hoped would usher in the country's first democratic transfer of power. The crisis over the outcome of the vote has raised the specter of another round of war in Afghanistan after the country was torn apart by years of fighting in the 1990s, which eventually led to the rise of the power of the Taliban. On Tuesday, Abdullah's team said the UN had until today to accept their demands to widen the criteria for identifying and discarding ballots deemed fraudulent from a June runoff vote. Abdullah's spokesman, Mujib Rahman Rahimi, said, "If our demands are not taken into account, we will not recognize the legitimacy of the process." Rahimi said if the audit went ahead without accepting Abdullah's demands, his camp would not recognize any future government in Afghanistan as legitimate. FPP Radio News is brought to you by Roberts & Roberts Brokerage. For over 35 years, Roberts & Roberts has been a trusted source for buying and selling your investment-grade precious metals. They now take Bitcoin for purchasing precious metals so you can turn your profits into a long-term investment. Call Roberts & Roberts today for knowledgeable advice on investing. 800-874-9760. Antiwar.com reports tensions between Ukraine and Russia ratcheted up dramatically yesterday with the report of the Ukrainian government capturing 10 Russian soldiers along the border. The soldiers, according to a defense ministry statement, accidentally crossed the unmarked border. The fate of the soldiers will likely be a major topic of discussion for the new talks between Presidents Poroshenko and Putin in Minsk. It will also add to Ukraine's hysterical proclamation of a Russian invasion after last week's sending of a large number of trucks with humanitarian aid to Luhansk. Already, the Ukrainian officials say that the soldiers must have been there on some special mission to undermine Ukrainian sovereignty. Ukraine is engaged in a war against the ethnic Russian secessionists in eastern Ukraine along the Russian border, and Russia has been pushing for a ceasefire. Those Ukrainian stories have often included claims of columns of Russian tanks appearing out of nowhere, and in one case of Ukraine's own military destroying a massive column of invading Russian vehicles which were never seen nor reported missing by Russia. In eastern Ukraine, what is going on is often as uncertain as why, with official rhetoric changing and often internally contradicting. The armored column Ukraine destroyed not only stopped being part of the official story, Ukraine incredibly claimed they'd never reported such an incident in the first place. This has been FPP Radio News, online at fppradio.com.